All right, Neil, Penn State picks up a 35-6 homecoming win over Rutgers. Rutgers really didn't do much in this game. They can't throw the ball, and even though Penn State was down 6-0, it just seemed like a matter of time before Penn State stopped sleepwalking, and then they really took control.
Yeah, amazing. Rutgers 43 yards passing. It's the lowest total by a Big Ten opponent against Penn State in 25 years. Pretty amazing. But, I thought Rutgers was kind of spunky, did what they could to sort of manage the game as best they can. I mean, Rutgers has been blown out, 56-0 consistently by the upper level of the Big Ten. So I think they have made some progress. I don't know how much progress Penn State made in this game. I think they stayed pretty patient and they kind of got away from trying to force the run, which they're having trouble doing, and they went back to the pass, and that sort of seemed to open things up, and their defense played pretty well.
Yeah, not to make this all about Rutgers, I can't believe that's a major college football program that just simply is incompetent throwing the football. But this was a perfect opponent for Penn State. They didn't really even start playing offensively until the second quarter, and then boom, they took over. But again, it was the kind of game where, whether it was a hangover or not, or whether it was that fluky kickoff that threw everybody off, there was no danger, and so it allowed the players to kind of settle in and then still build some confidence from a win.
Yeah, you remember last year at Rutgers, the same thing happened with the way they opened the game, and Penn State didn't field the kickoff then either. So you kind of they're doing their best to kind of keep the ball away from Barkley. McSorley had another pretty solid game. I mean, 16-21. The bar is set so high from him, even though he misses a couple early, and he's missed a few early, in a few games. I don't know if he's just amped up or what, but he's been kind of consistently high. But yeah, I think, James Franklin says every game's a Super Bowl. You just naturally aren't going to reach the same level of emotion every week, so you got to be a little better physically, and Penn State generally was. They missed a lot of tackles early.
Are we just to accept the fact now that even with a great running back that they can't run the football? I mean, is that really where this program is now with this offensive line, with these whatever it is, whoever you want to put the blame on, they cannot run the football? It's bizarre.
It's pretty maddening. I mean, you almost could predict when he's going to get the ball, and the way teams have made up their mind that he is not going to be the guy that beats you. And I think in sports you try to take that away and make other people beat you, and generally Penn State has been able to. They're 8-2. There's still a little season left. I don't know. It's a possibility, I think, now. They're not totally out of the Big Ten championship game if Michigan would happen to beat Ohio State at Michigan. Stranger things have happened. Ohio State is more mercurial than a lot of these teams. I would expect Ohio State to win this game, but Penn State, it's a bigger game for Rutgers than it is for Penn State. Always has been, and they played pretty hard.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who's the offensive MVP of this team?
I think it's McSorley. I mean, he's the guy you just I don't think you can function without. He's the guy that seems to bail you out. Now, granted, he's the beneficiary, and we'll see what happens next year if Barkley's not here. But, as soon as McSorley fakes the ball to Barkley, two guys converge on Barkley, and McSorley goes right up the middle for a touchdown.
And it's not to say McSorley's a better foot. This is the different discussion about the Heisman or awards or whatever. Saquon Barkley's a tremendous football player, and you put him in the right seat, he's going to make a lot of money. But for this team, when he can't run the ball and they need somebody to move the ball, it's Trace. And that's the crazy thing about Heisman voting. That's the crazy thing about football is McSorley a better football player? No, but he is more important. He's the reason this offense can move.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about college football.
Yeah.
Because you don't see a place for him in the NFL, where there obviously will be a place for Barkley. I want to touch on their special teams briefly. So I thought it was kind of a really uneven. Gillikin is on the verge, really making a case for himself to be among the better punters that they've ever had here, and they've had some great ones. But just a real uneven performance, I thought, special teams wise. They didn't field the opening kickoff. They were offside on an onside attempt. Kicked two balls out of bounds. They got to clean those things up. I think if they're going to continue to improve and be in a position to beat a good bowl team.
Do some fans back up off the ledge after 2 straight losses, or do fans look at this and say, Those Rutgers are not any good.
Well, I'm sure they look at that. I mean, you got Tommy Stevens in the game today. You did a little bit of a couple wrinkles with the pistol when they direct snap to Barkley. So they got Blacknall more involved than he had been. So it looked like they started to address some of the things that people wondered about.
Still on their way, probably to 10-2. The schedule's nice. Should be a decent bowl game. I don't think Saquon Barkley can win the Heisman unless he goes for 700 yards. I just simply don't think he won't. He simply will not have the numbers, Neil.
Yeah, and that's a shame, and maybe that tells you maybe they knew something. That's why they put him on kickoff returns and threw the ball to him as much as they have, at least until lately. They haven't thrown the ball to him a lot those last few games.
All right, for Neil, I'm Cory. Thanks for tuning in.